Okay, this might be an interesting story. I don't know how long this video is. If it's long, take some popcorn. I will see at the end how much I record because technically a lot happened, but I sometimes don't know whether I talk quickly or not about it. I made so many notes and then I'm too lazy to go all over them and read them all again. And then I say intuitively how it comes and cut out what I don't remember. Yeah, so I was on a streak of 15 days this time. On day 14, I realized this intimidation factor that last time I was talking about, that people in the students' bar again started to avoid me more. Like they were still attracted and interested, but they were less obvious about it because I was intimidating. Basically, I realized I still have the risk and everything because they are interested, but I know there are other times when I'm in a different consciousness state where everything flows more automatically and I'm super social and people would come up to me and I would just flow greatly with them. And if everyone is so intimidated, this is not the fact. And then I also again listened to some videos of other retainers who went on longer streaks who explained that yeah, the intimidation is real and there are people who will test you and stuff. And I again thought to myself, this is not the optimal state. I know I can probably do better because in the past when I had certain relapses or edging, sometimes I increased my socialness and therefore I would say also my charisma and risk. Because I think if you're too intimidating, this means you have lower charisma and risk. Even if deep down they like you so much and this is why they stay away because they're intimidated too much. Is this really risk? Is this really charisma? I mean, do you really get more contracts in business also if you're intimidating? Isn't it better if you seem very approachable? I think so. And this is why I think that many times in the first weeks you have your most power on a streak and most success. It's like beginner's luck, and then it goes down. And people who are going on long-term streak, one would assume if you extrapolate their success and so on, that in a few months they get like, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers or so, but then they are stuck at 2,500 subscribers or so, and it's just obvious that they are not getting really significantly better even though they are on longer streaks. And all of this led to me again consciously deciding, not out of urge or necessity, but deciding to have a reset. And I'm not planning to do this over and over. I'm not happy with how I did it. I overdid it. But already I'm better than last time when this happened. You know, everything happens in cycles on your retention journey, but I'm not going on relapse cycles anymore where I relapsed and then I have too strong urges and I keep relapsing over and over until I find a way to finally get up and go on another streak. And even last time I already conquered the relapse cycle mostly, but I was like doing it once the relapse, one day break, and I had again to do it one time more. But this time I did it just one time and now I'm abstinent. It happened 2 days ago and today I'm not doing it again. So yeah, I already got a lot of progress. But I just overdid it. I should have just edged as an experiment because it already happened in the past. I edged to say for work or whatever. And then if I would go out, I would have this optimal charisma risk where people would not avoid me, not be intimidated, but actually run up to me because they see that my eyes are lighting up when I look at them. And then they like it and I like it. And so automatically you get better connections, better eye locks and so on, other than when you are intimidating. When you're intimidating, you mostly get recognition from far. Like when you walk around in the city or in the train or something, people will eye lock with you. But then when it comes to interaction, especially with people that you know kind of because you always go to the same social environment, it's less flowing if you're too intimidating, and I don't think this is optimal. And then when I leave such spaces and it was suboptimal and the intimidation was a bit too much, I also don't feel fully satisfied, and for me this is a clear marker. But these are not the only reasons that this relapse happened. So first of all, I want to say the relapse was too strong. My brain convinced me to do it with corn, which was already stupid. I also had a release. I know how to do it so that I'm still spiritually protected. Because if I would do it normally like every other guy and would just, in the very normal way, then I would have to be scared for my life basically because I would go on the street and cars would nearly drive over me. and I would get very bad interactions where people are mean or even insulting or laughing at me. This happened years ago, but not anymore. I have a technique. I don't recommend it because, like I said, I overdid it and it should not be the path going forward. But as a data point, in case you want to know, if you are able to release without having a full erection, then you are more protected. It is what it is, doesn't matter. And when you are more protected, you get still spiritual attacks, but they don't get to your core. It's like you have a certain spiritual armor around you, but you are still somehow on a sub-level attracting bad things, and I will get more into detail about it. But I want to say one more reason why I decided to have this relapse. And what I should have done instead is just edging without relapsing and not to corn. I will get better and better. I already got better. Every new such little relapse or reset or cycle repetition gets more benign and less intense and severe than the previous one. This is how I know I'm growing rapidly. And once it's completely out of my system, I don't need to repeat it at all, so it's cool. This gives me a very positive outlook and hope. But one reason why also it happened, why I decided to do anything at all, is because I uploaded my previous video, which now has a great, I think 69 views at the moment, or 59 I think, 59 views. Anyway, when I uploaded it, it had only 3 views, and these 3 views were 2 my own views and 1 view of my girlfriend, so it got 0 new views. I was later working and experimenting a bit with the title, putting something more positive into the title other than intimidation alone, because intimidation doesn't seem to attract viewership. I had to put something about, some positive thing, like you just don't care on semen retention and so on. And I was experimenting with different thumbnails. I was always just refining the one I had. But the point is, when I uploaded it, I got extremely low level of views with other videos. The performance already in the first few minutes was better. And it frustrated me greatly because I was already on 15 days. And it was already frustrating that the socializing wasn't working so well because of the intimidation in the bar. And then how the online space reacted on my new video where I actually showed my face, this just pushed me over the line, and I thought, okay, let me circulate my energy in my body, let me release some kundalini to make something happen in the outer world. And you can see what happened. Now my video has so many more views. This is no joke. Because the moment you have a strong sexual... It doesn't even need to be a release, I think. But you have an activation. You're emitting something throughout space and time on a spiritual level. And suddenly you are more visible on the spiritual plane. And this includes the online plane. And then after I did it, the same night, suddenly I got more views. And the next day it was ridiculous. Suddenly I got like 50 more views. Most views came from yesterday, so from exactly the day after the relapse or reset, but exactly it already started happening that I got views accumulating exponentially since I was having my relapse, and then overnight it all came. So next day I just woke up yesterday and already I had most of the views, and then it was still growing, not badly, and even today I still get more views on it. So this is what happened because I engaged my sexual energy instead of just keeping it shut down somewhere. Honestly, if you don't do anything at all, even on retention, you can get brain fog because you get dull, you're depriving yourself of sexual energy, and this is what gives you brain fog because it makes you detached and unalive. You're less engaged in this world and also socially, and then interactions flow less. I mean, it's not just the other people that they are more intimidated, it's also my own self, because I oftentimes don't even want to talk with a lot of people, and then when I engage my sexuality, suddenly I'm more flowing myself and I'm more interested in talking to others. So it's a two-way street. It's both parties are involved. Like I say, I think I overdid the relapse, but in general I think edging was a good idea, and even now I'm not even regretful. I had a lot of spiritual attacks and I will talk about them going forward, But in general, I'm already back on track. I had one day that was a bit weird yesterday, even though even then it was not fully bad and I was protected, and I will tell more about this. But today, already everything is fine because directly after relapse, I took 1L-arginine. This directly makes my balls big again. They are directly again full, within 1 or 2 days. And then yesterday, I also took one zinc pill, and now I completely again have power. I even did not have insomnia because I was still recovering, and so I could sleep well, and I was also anyway tired from the entire weekend because I had no sleep. Now it's Tuesday, yeah. So yesterday I took the zinc. I had directly a lot of energy in my system, but I was still able to sleep because I'm recovering, and now I'm super fine again. And directly when I did my relapse, afterwards and during the session, I activated a lot of Kundalini. I felt it like heat rushes in my body. I started having a lot of these heat rushes since I started taking especially zinc, and I don't take it a lot, but yeah. And then yesterday when I took zinc, I got even more heat rushes, and even also before I took zinc, throughout yesterday I had them. And today I also have the heat rushes, but they're just like power. They give me power. I'm emitting Kundalini energy, and it's kind of cool. And today already I have my glow back. I mean, you know how it is. Even when you have a relapse after a streak, everyone knows that in the community. It doesn't take away all your progress. This is obvious. Not only does it not take away all your progress, actually it can set you back a few days on your streak where you did not experience the over-intimidation and so on. This is also funny. But yeah, why does it even work? Why can you have one relapse and then still you have the benefits? It's easy. Look, mostly every guy is fapping mostly daily. And even women. Most of modern women are watching porn, and they are self-pleasing themselves now and then, every few days. So on average, even if you relapsed once, but before that you were like on a 15-day streak, for example, on average you're still doing it less and you're more disciplined than guys and even as women. So of course they still look up to you, and you're still having power, and they respect you because they can see this all in your eyes, and it happens automatically. This is that part, and I get the attraction still today. Even yesterday I got it, but yesterday it was less. Now it's again getting more, and I can easier eye lock again. Yesterday, because I watched the corn 2 days ago, I was a bit less eye locking, but still sometimes it happened for a moment. I realized sometimes some girls were glimpsing over at me and stuff. So yeah, but yesterday was such a weird day. I was counting the negative things that happened to me. None of them were super bad. I mean, in the past I experienced worse, where my computer got hacked, by the way, for example, or where I got money withdrawn because my Amazon got hacked. But yeah, still, even though I had my spiritual protection, it did create some uneasiness in me, and I think I got at least 11 different distinct spiritual attacks throughout the day. One thing that I notice over and over is that when I use my laptop and I watch what I shouldn't and I have such a relapse, the laptop will start having issues, sometimes sound issues, but sometimes like YouTube video loading issues, Bluetooth connection issues, stuff like this. This definitely happened. Yesterday it annoyed me greatly. I was struggling for half an hour and the videos were not playing properly, and I got super angry. So I got loosh harvested. If you relapse, you always suddenly get loosh harvested. I don't say there are archons or what. I don't know what there is. But somehow, in some way, this mechanism definitely works. And technology is one of the biggest, villains in this whole situation, because technology so easily can glitch, and so the spiritual realm will always use it to punish you if you slip up on your retention journey. But even in the morning, I was already tired, but I had to wake up an hour earlier than I wanted to, because suddenly there was a fly in my room, actually at my girlfriend's room. I was staying overnight at her place. And then she needed to get rid of the fly, and it woke me up, and so I had to stand up an hour earlier. Then I go, the dormitory where she lives has so many flies, It's not her fault or anything, but there are so many flies. I went to the bathroom and I killed like 7 flies in there. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know if I can recollect all the bad things that happened, but there were a lot of bad things. So after killing all these flies, and actually even right now a fly is annoying while I'm trying to record this video. But anyways, then I got ready and we went out, and we went to another city because we have a park and we have wolves there, and we wanted to see the wolves, and it so happened that half of the wolves died, so we couldn't see them anymore. Only 2 out of 4 different types of wolves remained. This was very interesting. I mean, since I'm living, actually, I used to live in this city, and I'm now 31 years old, and this is the first time that I go to this place and such a thing happened. But even before we arrived there, I wanted to buy myself a little pizza at a snack place close to the train station. And like always, it happens so many times to me. I order and then I get the wrong item. I don't know why this keeps happening in such a ridiculous, it happens way too often. So then I got the wrong bread and I had to say again, and then I got the pizza. And I also don't like if I say bye to people and they somehow ignore. After I buy something, for example, then I get nothing back from them if I want to just say ciao. Yeah, I have to kill this fucking fly. Wait a moment. After we went back from the trip that we went to see the wolves, this is when I went to my place and I realized there's so many issues with my laptop, and it took me half an hour to figure them out, and I got super angry. And then I got more into the online game. I realized that by relapsing, somehow I was more visible in the online field. I saw how many views I suddenly got on my last video. I got also 1 more like, and for me as a very small YouTuber, this is a great achievement. So I see that some people genuinely like what I have to say. Yet I got 2 comments, and one of them was nasty, from a German guy telling me to go to the psychologist. I hate such guys. Honestly, if you don't like what I say, stay away from my video. If you think you have to insult someone or make him feel bad, it means you have the issues. And I don't want to comment anymore on that. I just deleted directly his comment, because this is how you behave with such people, because otherwise it will probably just get more and more. I don't need that. Yeah, this is about him. But then also on Reddit, suddenly people picked up on something that I said. I was recently starting to be in different subreddits. 2 subreddits about memes, and one subreddit that is called MMA Labs, where people are fighting. Because I was getting into fights in the past and I have some anger stored in my body, this is why those subreddits about fighting appeal to me. But I realized I see it and I get angry inside and excited in such a problematic way. I get arousal of adrenaline. And I realized this is actually low. I'm getting activated in lower chakras. It's like a substitute for sexual content. And there are people there who also are vibing low. I realized that on the mainstream meme subreddits, there are sexualized memes. And also on this MMA subreddit where people are fighting, sometimes there are some bikini girls who are fighting. Or there was one girl in yoga pants and so on, and she was kicking a boxing sack. And then at the end, she randomly decided to twerk. So I wrote a comment few days ago that the twerking was not necessary, and then I got the comments like, no, it's super necessary and we like it and don't talk for the collective, blah blah blah. I still got likes on my comments. Some people agreed. I think I got like 13 likes, but I got so many simp comments where people are defending this woman, and then I wrote my own comment and said, yeah, those simps who are writing here are probably exactly the ones that get none in real life. Anyway, I realized these subreddits are repulsing me, so I went out of them, and there was even one subreddit where I was before. I thought it's not really an issue, but still it had a certain undertone of negativity and sexuality. And already recently I was talking there like 2 weeks ago, 1.5 weeks ago, and someone wrote me back and got triggered, and a lot of people got triggered, and one of them told me, you're not welcome here anymore. But I stayed. But at this point, after I have post-nut clarity, I decided to also leave it. So now I cleaned my entire Reddit. It was mostly clean, but now it's fully, completely clean, is what I'm trying to say. And my YouTube is already clean anyway. So now I'm more clean in the online space than I ever was before. And I'm not going back to these all mainstream stuff. I just stay in my hermeticism, enlightenment, semen retention, and so on and so forth. Subreddits. There are many great subreddits, but I'm not going to participate anymore in this fighting stuff or some dank memes, because you see so much stupidity. I realized how far away at this point I am from the regular NPC mainstream human, and how disgusting they are. Like even the guy that wrote the comment under my YouTube video, bro, fuck you. Honestly, go fuck yourself. Anyway. Also, I got a spam email where someone was for the 100th time threatening me, ransom, that I have to pay money, some crap, some junk mail, It just gives a very negative feeling when you receive suddenly such spam emails. It mostly happens after I watch porn. But also recently I got a worse one, completely undeserved. I remember that during that time at night I was just high, and then the next day I looked in my junk email folder and I saw it, and someone was wishing me a night of extreme, unusual, materialized darkness and nightmares. I don't know, I just realized how low people are, in what kind of a low frequency reality we are living, that such spiritual attacks are even possible. Yeah, I really got disgusted yesterday after remembering all of this and getting the new attacks. And yeah, for a moment it really made me want to laugh a bit hysterically, like a cry release, but laughing. But it was fine. It was just a little it hurt a little bit for my soul to get all of these, but then it was good again. Generally I'm protected because of my technique that I used for my relapse, and today everything is great again. So it feels like I got myself more visible in the spiritual field. This is why I got more success with my videos and stuff, more clicks and so on. But at the same time I got more visible for everyone, including the dark entities and negative people. That's all I can say about that. Oh, and then I was still in the city with my girlfriend where we saw the wolves, and we were eating at the Asian place. And the restaurant at the end also gave us those cookies where you have a message inside. They are called good luck cookies. And guess what? First, my girlfriend wanted me to give one, and I said no, I intuitively feel like I want to have the other cookie. She opens hers up. She gets a message that is completely tailored to her situation. I open mine up. They forgot to put something in. I don't know, maybe it's even extra, I don't know. But my cookie was empty. So my luck message was nothing, you get no luck. Yeah, so I guess yesterday was not my lucky day, and because of the relapse. Also in the evening I wanted to have a meeting with a guy from my investment consultation business. And he then wrote to me, oh, let's postpone it for tomorrow because I have pain on my ear or something. Yeah, but I think that's even better that he postponed it, because today I'm in better energy. So later today I have my meeting. So a lot of stuff like this happened. Probably there was even more, but I think you get the point. A lot of such attacks happened. But now I'm back on track. And yeah, I'm also visible among retainers. I commented. I was listening to a guy. His channel is Spiritual Renaissance. He also has another one that is more about retention itself. Many of you maybe know him because he has a big channel. It's some older dude. And he couldn't remember one word, and I wrote down oxytocin because this is the word he was searching for. And then he writes, yes. I think it's funny because oxytocin is something that also you release in your body when you relapse. So he hearted my comment and wrote, yes. I'm more visible, obviously. By the way, before I continue talking about being more visible on YouTube, I want to say I also already, the day after the relapse, I had intercourse, and today as well. And after this, I went out, and this is when I realized my riz and charisma is back and I have glow. But anyway, the other thing that happened is You know, I'm not the only one who is saying edging has a positive effect if you do it not often and you do it responsibly and stuff. There's one guy on YouTube, very famous on retention. His name is Donta Young, and he has one single short video, YouTube Shorts, on YouTube, where he is explaining that you're playing with fire when you edge, but it can be positive because you're circulating your energy. And I know already I saw this video long ago, but I searched it and found it again, and I wrote to him in the comments, please more about that, more on this topic. And he hearted this, he hearted this comment. I did not see any other comments that got a heart from him, but yeah, he did it, and I think he maybe will talk about it since he made a heart on my comment. And I think this supports exactly my claim. And in general, it's so weird, depending on what is going on in my own situation, different comments that I made on YouTube randomly suddenly receive likes, even if the comments are already days or weeks ago posted. I don't know if somehow my phone is spying on me and the algorithm picks it up or whatever. But also, I was in the past listening to a guy on YouTube called Loser Maxing. He is telling about his life, how everything is going wrong for him and so on. For a while I thought it's very entertaining, but I decided to not follow him mostly anymore, because if you follow too much such stuff, this is who you turn out to be yourself, I would assume. But I wrote under one of his videos where he was saying how all the time he got treated bad by people. It reminded me of how I got treated right after relapsing in the past, during my dark night of the soul. And so I just wrote, bro, you are so cursed, or something like this. And then yesterday I got a like on that, or multiple likes. Right when I also had my cursed day yesterday, where there was a lot of bad luck. That's also interesting. And then maybe one last thing about the edging. Donta Young says it correctly. If you're edging, you are playing with fire. So you have to know what you're doing. And what I want to say about this is, fire is power. If you play with fire, if you engage with your own inner fire, this is what I mean by sexual mastery. You can also watch my thumbnail that I used for my video, Sexual Mastery on Semen Retention. This is exactly what I mean. And when you have more sexual mastery, then you can use more the Kundalini to your advantage, and you get more charisma and riz, and you can also perform better in bed. But yeah, like I say, I recommend doing it only once in every 2 weeks, like once every 14 days, and you should not release, and I assume it's best if you get the most pleasure out of it. Therefore, I would recommend doing it to save for work material, because if you don't get enough pleasure, I think that you will also reflect this later on. So it's better to do it with optimal pleasure, then you're more satisfied, and you should not release, not even a bit, because otherwise people will still treat you nice, but not fully, because you not fully were able to master and handle your own sexuality, and you were not disciplined enough to be able to withhold and not release. Other things to be aware of if you have a full relapse, which is not something that you should have, is it will lower your health. Issues that you already have, like for example, you have issue with your lung because you were smoking too much, will get worse. You get more sexual, maybe even issues. I mean, it's not good for your genitals if you over engage them in very bad ways while you are normally already on retention journey. And you will also last less long if you stimulate yourself in the wrong way to corn. And you know what was also weird yesterday? When I arrived in the city where the wolves are with my girlfriend, then also a car went by, and the guy was looking out of the car and was saying, "Hey, Kollege!" Kollege means colleague in German, even though this guy doesn't even know me. For no reason. So I was thinking, what the heck does he want now again? But another cab drove in front of him, so he couldn't see me anymore, and then he drove away after a while of hesitation. But it was not all bad, even yesterday, because when I went home, one of my neighbors, little girls, was there, and she held the door open for me, and she was saying hi kindly and everything. And she started interacting with me since I started my streak. And before I started my streak, she always looked suspiciously at me. But yeah, she already perceives me better. So this was also a clear sign that I did not fully, fell back only because of one relapse. Also, actually, it increases your perception of synchronicities when you sometimes edge and engage your sexual energy. Since yesterday, the day after the relapse, but also even the entire day today, I am seeing all the time on clock randomly full hours. Like right now, I saw 19, 7 o'clock basically, yeah? And I keep seeing them. It's like a new cycle begins. This is the spiritual message behind this. Normally, I would see more like 22, 22 and stuff like this, but now I'm seeing more always the full hour. Also, very interesting.